I am Eleanor. I am a mom. I'm originally from the Philippines. I grew up there and then I decided to move to Singapore. After that, I felt that I wanted to pursue higher education, so I did my MBA here in Toronto. And then eventually I met my husband, so that made me stay permanently here. I would say the first time was hard because I think, that's the case for everybody when you have your first. And when my daughter was born, it wasn't as hard, surprisingly. Maybe because we already have the experience. Every trimester, the symptoms have been very consistent. Like first trimester, I felt nauseous in all 3 pregnancies, but I wasn't really throwing up. It was just the feeling of nausea and fatigue. And then as soon as I entered my second trimester, those symptoms eased off. I would be at my best. And then as the third trimester begins, then it's harder for me to sleep at night, for example, just because the belly is getting bigger and I can't be on my back. I noticed my short-term memory is kind of suffering a bit. Like I forgot to turn off the stove the other day and that was freaking me out. When each child was born, I took a year off to take care of the baby full time. The most challenging was when I returned to work. I had to be mentally alert at work. And whenever I came home, I had to look after the baby, make dinner. It was everything, all your roles coming in. So that was physically challenging. But luckily, I have a husband who's very hands-on, very helpful, very involved with caring for our children. So, yeah. Yeah, so I spent some time researching about freezers. First of all, the idea came up because I wanted to make sure when the new baby comes, we have enough home-cooked meal that we can have without me having to cook them. I've been freezing food in batches every now and then, but this time I really need a big supply for the last of hopefully for a month or so. So I decided to get a freezer and made sure it's, energy efficient. So my plan is to fill up that freezer by the end of June. Primarily for physical exercise, I swim twice a week, about 30 minutes each time. It really helps relieve all the tension around my shoulders and lower back. So I really like doing it. I take walks sometimes with the family. So my kids like to ride their bikes. So I go walking with them and try to catch up. We teach them to be independent at mealtime. As soon as the baby can hold the spoon and feed himself, even if it's messy, we really encourage our child to do that, to self-feed. And putting clothes on, in the morning. So now they brush their own teeth. When they have to put on jacket and shoes to get out the door, they can do that by themselves. So they're fully potty trained. There's a lot of things that they can do independently, even playing in a very focused way. Yeah, so frees up a lot on our part. I think the most important thing is they know what they want to do in life and then they go after it. And then I think success will come along if they follow those certain recipes or steps. When I was pregnant with my second child, actually the second trimester of that, I remember I took a cooking class every week on a weeknight just to learn the fundamentals of cooking. And then when I was on mat leave, on my second mat leave, I was cooking a lot, trying different dishes. And then when I returned to work, the one thing that changed was I just became more organized. So I did most of my cooking. On the weekend, I would make big batches of dishes and freeze some, say half of it. For the most part, we ate at home and it's all home cooked. I started blogging about cooking because I like cooking, I like writing and taking food pictures. It allowed me to combine multiple interests into one thing. And I also wanted to do something entrepreneurial. So I started with blogging. It was great. I learned a lot of things about it, the ins and outs. I set it up on my own, so kind of proud of that. And then recently I switched it over to an online store. I figured from my personal standpoint, given my family situation, it's a better fit for me to run an online store that offers cooking related products, and then I would still continue to add value to my store visitors by putting in some content, blog posts about cooking or good cooking products or something like that. I wanted to encourage or inspire other busy folks, especially parents with young children, to make food at home, because I think it's just great for the family, great for the kids. For new mommies or for new mommies to be, you're getting into a phase that's going to be physically, perhaps emotionally challenging. Just always remind yourself to enjoy this new phase in your life. Sometimes it can be really hard, especially when you're sleep deprived and you have a lot of responsibilities with your children and your partner. But remember to enjoy, and that comes back to you positively. Then you become a lot happier and more positive and more calm, as opposed to really stressed and worn out. So if you keep that in mind, that should help.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
I hope you enjoy it.
Thank you. Wow, it's heavy. Thank you. Just continue what you've been doing before, and you have this motto, happy wife, happy life. Keep that up too. Keep that in your mind. It was working well. Thank you for being a great husband and a super dad to our children, and I know you'll do the same with the third one.
We all must run a race, and if the